Hey, everybody. Welcome to I'mPossible Live. Welcome back if you're joining us again. And I'm delighted to reintroduce you to amazing Shel Shapiro. We were joking about our chair dancing behind the scenes, which I think is one of the things we were doing the last time we went live on to test out some properties of LinkedIn Audio and LinkedIn Live. But we're delighted you're joining us today, no matter what platform you're joining us on. Whether you're on YouTube, you're on Meta, you're on LinkedIn, whether you're Team Live or Team Replay. If you have not had an opportunity to meet or acquaint yourself with fabulous dynamic Shell, and I adore this woman. So I'll try not to make her blush too much, but I had the pleasure of being introduced to her by Lachelle Atkins, America's Supermom. And Lachelle, she just knows exactly sometimes who who you need to meet. And she meets others and really thinks of unique opportunities. I am honored she sent Shell my way. I had no idea in our first conversation of how much really this amazing woman, besides teaching us to rock on LinkedIn with or without pom poms, without the chair dancing, but this amazing, wonderful woman, I am delighted and honored to welcome back to Impossible Live and to call a dear friend. Shell, without further ado, let the world know who amazing Shell is and what a celebration is all about.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, every time we're on camera, whether or not we're live or just, chit-chatting between the two of us, I feel like we're always chair dancing and getting into that groove. Um, it's, and I'll say this before I tell you a little bit more about myself and what I do. Uh, it's grounding. It's liberating. Like it gets us into that we're here to show up mode of like, yeah, we can be ourselves and let go. So, yeah, that leads me into my introduction. Hey everyone. Whether you know me already or whether you're just getting to know me and seeing me for the first time, I'm Shel Shapiro. As you see on the screen, I'm your LinkedIn cheerleader. And I really do mean that. I really enjoy encouraging people to show up as themselves and to get excited about being on LinkedIn. And that means that, like, yeah, I am going to be chair dancing with you and celebrating your wins and like building you back up when you're having a crap day or when your engagement is feeling not so hot. And that's really like I thrive in that. Like I live in that space. I don't want to say 24/7 because that would lead to burnout, but like I live in that space more often than I don't on LinkedIn. And that's really how I help people elevate themselves and reach more of the people that they want to surround themselves with. So when I call myself a LinkedIn cheerleader, when I call myself a LinkedIn engagement specialist, it's through the lens of like having more cultivating conversations, which and collaborations, which is today's conversation topic, right? Like it's through the lens of like, how do we have more of the conversations that we want to have? How do we surround ourselves with more of the people that we want to surround ourselves with? And yeah, like it's just a good natured chat with positive vibes to like really encourage you to be yourself. So Mel, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me back.
My pleasure. And boy, so overdue. For those of you who joined us, and you're going to laugh, whew, it's hard to believe, Shell. It's almost 2 years, I think, since Shell joined us for conversations that lead to collaborations. And in the process of getting to know her better and just really enjoying her and and her amazing gems, she really just helps us kind of lean in to show up as who we are in person, online, and both. And I have to really thank you because you've become part of a trifecta for me with exquisite Eve Voyaveda and Jonathan Howard. I really have to thank you all for your encouragement and the reminder as an introvert. or an ambivert, or to be a little more conscious of how we're showing up today. And Shella laugh, I put on, our favorite color on a chilly day, to remind her how much I adore her. But I'd love also to welcome back Janae, Jen, Lisa, and Shirley, and whoever else is watching us silently and hasn't had a chance to say hi yet across platforms. Shell, today's title, Cultivating Collaborations. Where should we start?
When you and I were coming up with this title the other day, we were popping around, like we were talking about a lot of different C's, right? And I think a lot of our conversations go back to this over and over again. Like, obviously, we've got the cultivating collaborations and all the alliteration that comes with the different C's, but we also talked about connection and courage and curiosity. And this all ties back to like what you do so well with igniting trust. Like, so when it comes to like cultivating collaborations for me, like I think about all of these C's. I think about how I can ignite trust and build that trust and build that relationship with somebody else. So, what I would pose to the audience is what do you think about when you're looking to cultivate collaborations? What lens do you think about things? Are you looking to have more referral partners? Are you looking to build more alliances and have more of a support system? Another C is community. Are you looking to build community? Are you looking for clients? That's another C word. So really like think about when you're cultivating those collaborations, what is your goal with that? What is your intention? And I talk about this with clients all the time. Like we're here to be intentional. So I want you to make sure that you're setting intentions and expectations and getting out of those conversations what you want. And if you're not having conversations that matter to you or collaborations that matter to you, what can you start digging around to have make more of that happen? Because it's probably just such a simple shift to make, right? Like we surround ourselves. Thank you, Janae. I love hearing all of that. It's such a simple shift to make when like we think about who do we want to have more conversations with. We don't need to overcomplicate it. And trust me, like I overcomplicate everything in my own life. Uncomplicating it for everybody else, that's the simple part. But like we are so used to, and I don't think I'm alone here, getting in our own way. So, how do we cultivate collaborations and have more conversations that simplify that process for us? Who do we need to surround ourselves with to get back to basics, to uncomplicate the things that we want to do? And I know I'm going long-winded here, so cut me off at any time, but like I think this is so important. I think this is so easily overlooked, especially when we're in the day-to-day of like just going through the motions sometimes of having a conversation and having a conversation and having a conversation, but like to what end? So I'm inviting you to come back to what do you want to get out of it? What is your intention? What is your expectation? What are these collaborations hopefully going to get for you and mean for you?
Ah, I love that. And welcome, Raymond. Oh, Raymond, I missed you. Raymond says just building trust in the relationship through vulnerability. And he does it so well. This amazing, talented man. And, Shell does too. And I love how in this conversation, you're really reminding us get back to basics, consider the intentions, and, and also I appreciate it because Marie's saying it also. For her, it's the relational rather than the transactional. And and it was interesting. A conversation reminded me of that last week, and Jill and I had a chance to really talk about it, and I appreciated it because I've been limiting a little bit my exposure to the news, to what I consume, like Shell would say, around the energy part of managing our energies. And I especially did that around Martin Luther King Day for multiple reasons. And for many of you who join us weekly, you'll notice it was a day where we didn't share a live stream. And I think in that process, it really was a reminder about the critical importance of relationships. And Shell and I are talking about this on many levels today. So I really appreciate that it kind of ties in with our theme. But I love that Shell said, get back to basics. Whatever basics are for you. Like I'm loving recently with the changes in some of the live events. And as Kimberly Lechnick said it best about, we have so many competing priorities. We have, whether it's, family, friends, things we need to do, different roles, places we need to be. And in that, there's could be a pressure to kind of show up, to kind of support. It can feel a little unnatural. And what I love is, as Jay is saying, Jay teaches conversational selling. But I think we really need to know more about that, Jay, and more about social selling, but social selling in a way that really is social. It's not the uh, it's not spraying insect repellent, for lack of a better word, or doing some of the things that kind of they don't really encourage collaborations. They don't really encourage conversations, and I think sometimes we don't realize that. But in the back to basics part, I think there's that opportunity to really stay in a lane that helps us feel comfortable and helps the people we're reaching out to feel comfortable also.
Yeah. One of the things, and I love that Marie brought up like the being relational rather than transactional. I know you and I talk about that a lot, Mel. Anytime like I feel like somebody's pitch slapping me or like really just they're only reaching out to me when they need something, that it it takes me back because I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I thought you and I were aligned. I thought, it takes me a second sometimes to get back in alignment or to get back on a page with somebody when I thought the whole time that, hey, we were both here to build each other. We weren't just only going to reach out when you or I needed something. And sometimes that is the nature of certain relationships. And I know that and I appreciate that. But when it starts as something different and then maybe it changes over time, which is also okay. Or maybe they didn't know that they were on a different page, or maybe I was really on a different page and there wasn't that transparency and honesty and forthrightness. And again, we don't know what we don't know sometimes, but like I think as we reveal and learn more things about ourselves, it's important to go back and say, hey, like I know we started our conversation here. It's making more sense for me to be over here now. Do you want to still be in this lane with me? Or does that not make sense for you anymore? And I think for me, that's where I fall off of a lot of conversations because we don't ever have that conversation or that space to really trust ourselves or even trust the other person to go back and say, hey, this has changed for me. And I want to know if you still want to be here. And if so, great. And if not, then I wish you all the best and I'll still support you in other ways. And sometimes I get in my own head or get in my own way a lot of thinking that it's not okay to like change or tell somebody that like, hey, I want something different now. Or maybe I thought I wanted this, but now after being in it for a while, I don't actually want this. And I'm learning as I learn to trust myself more that it's okay to let people know that something has changed. And I sometimes I just wish that other people would be more transparent in that too. So again, I know I go off on a little bit of a tangent. I always bring it back because it really just comes full circle all the time as long as we're thinking about and being true to how do you want to show up? Who do you want to have conversations with? Why are you here? So yeah, I'm loving this conversation right now, and so many great people in the chat. So thank you for being
I
here.
Oh gosh, I am too, and especially as you're saying about the why am I here, you know, and and Jen saying it on a deeper level. I think there's, as Shell mentioned before, we have two choices. We can show up with curiosity, we can show up as an explorer. And in that process, really, from an energy perspective, we're hopefully not removing, we're hopefully not removing the oxygen that's in the air, the good vibes, you know, and welcome, Eliana. Thank you for joining us. And like Raymond saying, loves that brain transparency, that letting people know what's in your head in the moment. It also is a good sign of clear leadership. And I think it's also a good sign of really being fully present. That when we can show up and be transparent in an amazing collaboration, in a relationship, in any role, we really can, we can change the vibes. We can, uh, I always call it elevate your blend. Well, you know, we can raise the temperature. We can raise the vibes, and at the same time, we need to do it with respect and really with awareness. So I think the thing that I'm grateful about, because of the trust journey at the same time in the beginning as the positive intelligence journey. So positive intelligence brought vulnerability out for me, and the trust work and going into the trust channels brought out the transparency. I didn't always feel safe and comfortable in environments to show up as transparent. That wasn't my experience in the corporate world. And sometimes you're in rooms, which is another reason why we adore Lachelle and we thank her for connecting us. Sometimes when you're in rooms, you need someone else to keep an eye out for you for that room that you're not in that room, and to invite you places to show up. I was laughing last week because Michael Roach and I were co-hosting Event Alchemy Networking, and a bunch of people had LinkedIn questions in the back of my mind. I'm like, Shell, Shell, Shell. It's like an alarm bell. This happened once, and Lachelle will laugh, but years ago during the pandemic, a mom showed up who was homesteading 6 children, and she had obviously not seen anybody out and about in a while, and she really needed some love. And she had 6 children, and I'm like, wow, thank goodness I can think of Lachelle as a person to introduce her to. And I reached out to Lachelle, and Lachelle actually popped in. It ended up, this wasn't a great collaboration for Lachelle. It wasn't a great introduction for Lachelle. But as Shell says, we got a choice. It's how we respond to that. Whether maybe, like Jen saying about supporting each other, that's a big part of an enjoyable collaboration, of one that, you know, in the old days we used to say mutually beneficial. Sometimes in every collaboration, somebody's doing more heavy lifting than another. Someone is, you know, saying hi. Someone feels like, this is my area. I loved a conversation I had with Kimberly Lechnick, Lachelle's amazing collaborator in Power of the Moment. And we were talking about an upcoming summit that they're planning. And I love it because Kimberly really reminded me in collaboration that sometimes it's, having a little knowledge about what the lane is that the other person or the other people in your collaboration that they're excited to play in or collaborate. I love that Kimberly said, I'm a visionary. And Lachelle is a media strategist. She's our marketing person. And we know we need a collaborator who's in the operations or the implementation lane. And conversation with Kimberly really helped me share my operations experience with her, but also to say, I think for this project, you need an operations person and you need some implementation, somebody to oversee your implementation. Otherwise, it's like creating a lot more work for yourself. But I love how, Raymond, Raymond, you got to come join me for Impossible Live one day. This amazing, amazing gentleman from the positive intelligence, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, the DEIB community of practice. I had the pleasure of meeting Raymond and being paired one day in a breakout room with Raymond and this amazing woman, Hanat. And it wasn't one of my sunshiny mel days. And as Raymond says, it's sometimes about leaning into your intuition and tapping into the nuances in the conversation. It is so important in life, in every situation where we show up. But boy, it is it's also such a gift. And sometimes it's not possible to tap into the nuances in the conversation because there's nonverbal body language. There's, we have different neurodiverse, different abilities. And there's a lot going on, whether we're able to, as Shell and I would say, have the intimacy of a conversation like this with you today. Or last week, Martin Stark and we pre-recorded our first Impossible Live. The nuances change. And I think, as you're saying, Shell, that part under the C's and the collaborations, that really being a cheerleader, encouraging, enthusiastic, supportive, welcoming. We can think of a million other adjectives that are C's, but I don't know, Shell, what else is coming up for you?
Sorry, I had to swallow there. So you and I collaborate a lot, right? Like it's we have a lot of overlap in our audiences. We do very different things, and yet we still find ways to come together and share our knowledge, share our insights, give feedback on things that maybe the other person has overlooked or maybe not seen or thought about. We connect each other with amazing individuals who we come across in our conversations that immediately, as you said, like, I got to bring Shell in, or, oh my God, Mel needs to know this person. And we do that time and time again. And I think there's not really like a secret sauce to doing that, but like for me, the secret sauce has been like just the active listening in a conversation and being present with whoever is in that room to be like, okay, what are they actually asking for? And do I know anybody? Or could somebody else be a resource where I can't? And just as Lachelle does so beautifully, like, all right, here's where you said you wanted, and she asks on calls, like, what are you looking for more of? Right? Like, and then she has her archive, her Rolodex, if you will, online or however she has it, this beautiful, amazing like Rolodex that she has, and she goes in and magically you'll be connected with 2, 5, 10, however many people that align with the things that you just said you wanted more of. And so I think if we can all go in and do that more for each other, even just by showing up in this space, like we are talking about collaborations. If you know somebody who's looking to have more collaborations, who are you looking to collaborate? Maybe I know somebody. What are you looking to have more conversations around? Is there a piece of your support system that's missing? Can I bring somebody else in that maybe I know that can do that really well? Like, I think it's looking for each other's gaps and keeping an eye out for to have each other's backs seems like the wrong word here, but like we're by being actively listening in those conversations and showing up for each other and making those introductions, like we are helping each other fill those gaps. And I know in your profile, and we may have taken out some of this over time. You used to talk a lot about like the plugs and the leaks and like filling those spots and having those right people to support you in that. And you do that so beautifully for others. Lachelle does that so beautifully for others. Like, I would love to see a LinkedIn space where everybody just innately does that for one another. So yeah, that's what else is coming up for me.
I love too, besides another one of Raymond's great comments, and Ileana had a chance to share one that will pop up shortly. But I really do think it's about having someone's back, because when we're little, when we're kids, you think of patting a child's back. I remember our oldest godson, and I still laugh at this, as an infant. We would pat him on his back, uh, not quite burping him, but pat him on his back, and he would pat us back. We thought it was the most hysterical thing. It's fun now because at 36, like, he gives the best hugs. And I think of it, it's a matter of reflecting something, maybe, that, and it's beyond trying to fill a need. It's beyond trying to mm, give everybody all the answers or the resources they need. No one person knows it all. And if we don't find a way to meet, if we don't find that way to help each other discover the solutions, and I appreciate it because, as Ileana's comment is, it's really about helping each other build bridges. And it's whether you're willing, take a step on the bridge, find a new path on the bridge, sometimes create a living bridge because maybe someone feels like their bridge, the air is still, doesn't have the breath work or the energy, or they're relaunching or just reappearing or just recreating themselves. But I do think in the cultivating part, that part has to have some sort of nourishment, whether it's nourishment of a relationship, some sort of alignment of a goal, a cause, or a place where we can really connect, and uh, in a genuine way. And like Shell says, this back to basics that can feel like it's got a little bit of simplicity there. Otherwise, it's really complicated, and it becomes harder to show up. It becomes harder to help support each other.
I want to talk more for a second, if you're okay, with I know Jen Berger just alluded to what Lachelle was asking earlier, about discussing how to let people go when it's not good alignment. Um, let's talk about that a little bit, like, because I think that's important too. Like, not every collaboration is going to feel aligned. Not every conversation is going to be right for you. And for me, I think right now, like, I feel very blessed, and I even wrote it that in as part of my gratitude this morning, that I've been having a lot more energizing conversations lately. And even last week, Mel, I think I told you, I know I told you, but now I'm sharing it with your audience as well. My DMs were on fire last week, and I was like, what is going on? There's this energy here. I don't know where it's coming from, but like, I'm leaning into it, right? And I'm grateful that and excited that I can now choose which conversations are right for me and which collaborations I want to have more of. Before, and not always, but before, older Shell would have been like feeling like I had to respond to every single comment, every single DM, every single conversation, and just be grateful that people wanted to talk to me. And yes, I am grateful that people want to talk to me, but I'm even more excited and grateful now that I get to choose which ones I want to cultivate. And so, getting back to the question of, like, how do I let somebody go or let somebody down or discontinue a conversation that's really not for me? Well, if it's a pitch slap, if it's the first time I'm hearing from somebody, uh, or even if I've already spoken to somebody and I just know that it's transactional and there's nothing else personalized behind it, block and bless, baby. I don't want to say I have zero F's to give to people like that come to me through that, because obviously it works for some people, but like that doesn't work for me. So I feel okay to just block and bless in that case. But where like I've given my energy and then there's a change, I am getting better. I'm not great at it yet, but I am getting better at trusting myself to say, hey, I actually think I want to go more in this direction. Or I love that you want to do this and I appreciate that you're here, but the timing is just not right for me. And I'm paraphrasing right now because I definitely overthink this when I'm actually writing it out in the DMs or sending somebody a voice note. And I'm learning how to trust myself more to just say what I know needs to be said. So I think in whatever shape that looks like for you, telling somebody, hey, like, I really appreciate that you want to do this. I'm grateful that you want to be here. I This is how I can still show up and support you. And that's also my, for anybody who knows about their saboteurs, all my PQ people in here, like the pleaser is definitely my number one saboteur. And so allowing myself to say, hey, this doesn't really align with me is like a really big step for me to take. So anybody else that has that pleaser tendency, of like, and or is breaking that habit of not diving into every conversation or not being everything for everybody just to get that gratitude, um that validation, like you get to choose. So I don't know if I fully answered what you wanted, Lachelle, but yeah, I'm learning how to do it better because it's not always easy for me as a pleaser or a recovering pleaser and somebody that's learning how to navigate that in conversations, to trust myself enough to say, hey, this doesn't feel great anymore. Or like, I still want to show up and support you this way. I just can't give you my full self. Or I can only show up and clarify so much. So yeah. Hey Claire, lovely to have you here.
And Claire, warm welcome to Impossible Live. Thank you so much for joining us. And Claire, the thing that I love from the journey with positive intelligence is pleasers are universal. Some of us learn it at birth. Some of us learned it in church, in school, in family situations, in our cultures, and I think it's one of the really cool things, and I love it because not only are we having such an extremely active chat, but that you're here as part of the village because really that's a big part of the spirit of collaborations of I'm possible, of just showing up with more energy. And my sis from another mother says it well, saying no is about balancing honesty with respect and doing it in a way that is kind and doing it in a way that's not necessarily blunt, that's very gentle based on the age of the person we're speaking with, the gender, their concerns, their competing priorities, whatever is happening there. And I think also, not only, I just want to say thank you for joining us, whether you're popping in for a minute, for your first time, for your last time. And the thing you're going to laugh at is Martin Stark and I pre recorded last week. And I was saying how it was really cool because you'll love it next week. We had one of those really deep, rich conversations, but I missed an opportunity to connect with you across the miles live. So next week, as you would say, when it has a different slight feel, thanks for the reminder to keep it going. And yes, Jen, we absolutely love Shell's water glass and mug. But Jen, Shell has a mug collection, just like those amazing pillows behind her. Shell reminds me in our interactions and our collaborations, and I thank Lachelle for putting us together, that it really can feel sometimes on the gray days. Shell brings the sunshine and the rainbows, and she helps me accept, I I had to accept as we get deeper in Impossible Live. I'm a disruptor. And that at times we can feel a little bit of a unicorn, but it's also a reminder, the invitation today to show up, whether it's with our inside or our outside voice. What I love, Shell, about how you help us nourish collaborations, how you help us, and how you specifically have helped me figure out kind of who Mel wanted to be on LinkedIn. Because as you say, we have a lot of choices. We have a lot of choices about our styles, about our voice, about where we show up, when we show up. And that first great link that Shell has in her profile, on her LinkedIn profile, I I clicked that link before our first I'mPossible Live. And I'm so grateful because Shell's healthy wellness approach to how we show up in a way that nourishes our energy reserves, our goals, that aligns with that. I mean, I love what I've learned from you. And you'll laugh because Shell and I finally had a chance to meet in person. And we met with Charlene Brown, and amazing Charlene. And we met for lunch. And lunch turned into what I would call dinner. We were there 4 hours later. And if you're looking for someone to help you start checking out how you're showing up, and particularly on LinkedIn, because Shell's our LinkedIn cheerleader. This is definitely, definitely the amazing woman that I would strongly recommend. When you have a minute and you've got some energy, click that amazing link in our profile. And Shell, where else should we send amazing people to come meet you and just check out the wonderful Shell?
Yeah. Well, so first of all, in person, as you know, that was like that's a core memory for me now of us meeting in person because it was such a long time coming and like I yeah, I really thought that the restaurant was gonna like be like, okay, our dinner crowd's coming in, you guys gotta go. But they were absolutely wonderful with just letting us stay there and chat for hours. Um, eh, so as you guys may know, I split my time between the East and the West Coast. So if you're on the East Coast and you ever want to meet up, let me know, like specifically New York, New Jersey. And if you're on the West Coast in the Seattle area and you ever want to meet up, let me know. Um, on LinkedIn on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I do think are we having one this week? I don't know. I think we are. Uh, I Melanie Mitchell Wexler, Roy Kowarski, and I have our LinkedIn 101 events. They used to be our audio space. Now we've repurposed them as LinkedIn Lives. And this is your opportunity to come and chat with us a little bit about what you're wanting to learn more on LinkedIn, through the lens of like, I'm here, I'm doing the thing, but like maybe I could be doing it a little bit better. And every week we switch the topic a little bit, whether we're doing profile reviews or talking about engagement or talking about how you can do your own events or creating content. And so we've been doing those rooms pretty consistently every Thursday, again, 6 p.m. Eastern. I will share the link to this week's in the chat afterwards. You know, I can't multitask and I don't really want to put it there right now. So I will do it afterwards for you guys to find it. And then this Friday, Melanie Mitchell Wexler and I are also hosting another LinkedIn Rockstar Academy workshop. It is free. It is like to help you take that LinkedIn 101 to the next level. If you've been coming for a while, we so appreciate it. We love our supporters. We love people who want to learn from us. If you're wanting to have more accountability in that and make lasting change, not that you can't do it from a LinkedIn 101 perspective, but sometimes people need a little bit more cheerleading in their corner to have that support to do it. You get the two of us as LinkedIn experts to do it with you. And this workshop will help answer any questions you have about your who, what, when, where, why you should be showing up on LinkedIn. And then if you want to know even more, we've got our 6-week cohort, the LinkedIn Rockstar Academy cohort, launching again in February to show you how to dive more into those things. Again, this is for anybody who's been, playing around on LinkedIn for a while and wants to take that to the next level. You can ask us all your questions this Friday at 1 p.m. I will share that link in the event space after as well. And so you'll have all the ways to get to know more about me, check out my vibe, ask me LinkedIn questions, and hopefully take away something from each of the sessions that you attend. And that is really my intention here, is to help you show up better on LinkedIn so that you can engage better, have more conversations that matter to you. And as we've been talking about here, have more cultivating collaborations that you can benefit from. So yeah, let me know if you're attending. I will be more than happy to send you more links, cheer you on, and support you along the way. Mel, I don't think we always get a chance to do this, and I want you to do more of this. So I'm going to ask you a similar question. Where can people find you throughout the week? I'm putting it back on you now. You don't ever talk about your services enough. How can people find you? Where can people find you? Where can people get more of you?
So thanks for your wonderful invitation. And Emma Tramble will pop into a replay, and Jen, the two of them remind me to do the same. So great places to stay in touch are through Event Alchemy, which Michael Roach and I co-host for January and February. It's on three select 3 Tuesdays in a row at 5 p.m. Eastern. Because of the changes in LinkedIn audio, we're now on Zoom. The cool part is tomorrow we will celebrate our 25th session. Whew, hard to believe. And it's called Event Alchemy Generate Momentum. And for those of you who are following Be Visible with Mel on YouTube, you'll see a link, and I'll share it below in the comments, for our only podcast. We had a day where we went live on I'mPossible Live, and video just didn't cooperate. And amazing Carla Sellers turned it into our first podcast, and that lives on YouTube. I also would always love to invite you to pop into I'mPossible Live, whether you're popping in on Meta or on LinkedIn or on YouTube, and join us live. We absolutely love your energy, and join us as Team Replay. When you're joining us for replays, say hi. Let us know you popped in. Let us know where you're joining us from, and let us know a way that we can help you in between I'mPossible Lives. And the Ignite Trust journey, there's a link on my LinkedIn profile to explore Ignite Trust. It's at the end of the month. You'll notice I need to update next month's calendar. And in March, I'm co-hosting series of trust masterclasses in Amalia Gardner's amazing community, which is Audio Leadership Club. So, good ways to stay in touch. If you're on LinkedIn, check out the events tab. It'll let you know where we're coming through next. If you prefer calendar invites, let me know, because I'm a Google Calendar girl. On the other hand, any way that you have a chance to just reach out, whether it's in DMs or it's or it's just like Shell did, and Shell introduced me to amazing Claire O'Connor, and the three of us, we are due to get together, Claire. So we're going to ask Shell to bring the disco ball. Also, yes, exactly. But I appreciate you reminding me it's not something I think of often during I'mPossible Lives. I'm thinking of, how do we help you, and how do we help you in between I'mPossible Lives, so that it's a less fragile world. And so you're creating more of the conversations, the opportunities, the collaborations, whether you're doing them at events or in your local communities, or you're just dreaming of building the business or life of your dreams. So, Shel, man, thanks. Oh, Oh, lovely, beautiful woman. Thank you for turning that around and reminding me. But, Shell, you also offer amazing one on one dives with, and I'll call it a dive because I mentioned to Shell that Shell sent me a follow up email with 3 Shell tips. And I was cheering recently because I said to Shell, I think a couple of weeks ago, Shell, we've finally done all 3. Shell sent one tip I could try and approach on my own, one tip that I knew I needed a lot more help with, and one tip that I knew I needed Shell's help with. And she'll laugh because she didn't say, call me when you need help with the 3rd tip. I just knew she was the person to go to. So I'd love to encourage you, whether you're popping into I'mPossible Live for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, seconds, and invite somebody else in who you think could benefit for joining us for some of this cool energy, or as Shell says, to ignite trust. Shell, I can't wait to see you and Melanie Mitchell Wexler again and more often on video during your LinkedIn 101 with Roy and during as you're answering great questions on about your LinkedIn Rockstar Academy. Shell's going to come back and join us again. I promise. We're going to do some real chair dancing. And this time you'll be able to hear not only the Whitney Houston song, but the Babyface song that I didn't realize how low it was, but we were enjoying it. And ah, Ileana, thank you so much. We appreciate the positive vibes. We can do anything if we believe, and if we just show up to kind of support each other a little bit more often, even if it's 5 minutes in one day. So what should we say other than we're sending love and great positive vibes out?
Whew. I can't thank you all enough for being with us today. And whether you're watching us live or on the replay, your energy comes through on the screen. I don't think I tell you guys this enough. Like, I feel the energy. And I don't even know if Claire knows about this, but like, I feel the energy when it's there and when it's not. And sometimes I need to promote that a little bit more and put the energy out there for other people to receive it. But like, I truly appreciate and am so grateful for everybody showing up and wanting to be in this space. That doesn't go unnoticed. And as I often say in the other LinkedIn rooms and spaces that I'm in, take a moment to look around and see who else showed up. In an audio event, I would say look up, look down, look to your left, right, and who's on the stage. You can't really see that here, but go through the chat, look at the event page, look at who else attended, and see, is there anybody else that showed up in this space that clearly chose to be here, had the same interest in choosing to be here, whether that's for a collaboration, whether that's for conversation, whether that's to support. See who showed up and see who else makes sense for you to have a conversation with too. And that is how I'm going to close out the room, because that just takes us back full circle to cultivating collaborations. And that's what this conversation was all about.
And in the amazing Shell Abration world, I want to thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay well, stay warm, stay inspired, and stay in touch. And mm, we hope you have a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. Take great care. We'll see you soon.